by AOVO Technology.
The latest thrilling disaster film from France, Acide au Fort, Blame It on the Rain, depicts a moment of shock as acid rain strikes. A mysterious black cloud is steadily approaching, and raindrops hitting the ground emit wisps of white smoke. In moments, everything is corroded to the point of destruction. A terrified girl watches as two horses, driven mad, charge towards her. Selma finally realizes something is wrong, loudly warning her father and desperately running back. They manage to reach a nearby stable just as the torrential acid rain begins. A pungent smell permeates the air as the makeshift structure proves unable to withstand the corrosive rain, quickly eroding the roof. Just as things seem dire, Mary arrives in a car. Mike covers Selma with a cloth, and they dash into the vehicle through the pouring rain. However, upon returning home, they find the road blocked, and the outside is filled with desperate cries. People plead for help, and as Mike opens the car door, a person with a decaying body rushes towards them. The family dares not linger, and Mary accelerates, crashing through obstructing vehicles and plunging into a nearby rice field. Yet, upon reaching the town, they discover a scene resembling a living hell, with charred bodies everywhere. Survivors scavenge for usable items, and Mary finds a few blankets, covering the car roof with Mike's help. The family then resumes their journey of escape. After a day of continuous travel, the car's tires are corroded beyond use. Fortunately, the rain has stopped, and the group is forced to abandon the vehicle, continuing on foot. Not long after, they arrived at a farmhouse where no one seemed to be present. It appeared that the owners had already left. Mike opened the tap and smelled the water, finding no unpleasant odor. As a precaution, he used a plastic container to collect water, ensuring that the container remained intact. Suddenly, a cat approached, seemingly thirsty after a day without water. It eagerly drank from the container. Despite the cat showing no signs of distress, the cautious Mike still opted to quench the family's thirst with bottled red wine. Outside, a drizzle began again, prompting the family to sleep under the table for safety. However, in the middle of the night, strange noises emanated from the room. The daughter followed the sounds and discovered red traces on the floor, leading to the kitchen stove. Lifting a curtain, she found the lifeless body of the curled-up cat. The next day, more survivors fleeing on foot appeared on the road. Without transportation, they could only walk with their belongings. When they reached the only bridge outside the town, it was already overcrowded. The acid rain had weakened the bridge, and to preserve this crucial escape route, the police had to control the crowd, allowing only a small group to pass each time. However, the desperate people pushed and shoved, and Mike's family got caught in the midst of it. Despite Mary's attempts to hold on to her daughter, they were separated. The police, trying to manage the situation, allowed Mary to pass while stopping Mike and the daughter. Mary wanted to pull them out, but was harshly reprimanded by a nearby police officer. Eventually, Mary had no choice but to proceed alone. As she walked halfway across the bridge, it began to collapse, causing panic and chaos. Some people turned back in fear, but others pressed forward, fearing to miss the only chance to escape. The police line was broken, and more people crowded onto the bridge. Mary found herself trapped between two groups of people, unable to move. Suddenly, Mike's wife wailed in agony, but as they helplessly watched the drifting body, there was nothing they could do. Soon, the military rescue team arrived, bringing a glimmer of hope for the surviving town residents. The military prepared to transport these survivors to a nearby military base with an emergency shelter that was 10 meters deep. When the vehicle finally stopped, Mike realized they were in a remote forest. Soldiers directed everyone to climb to the mountaintop where the shelter was located, 2 kilometers away. The crowd hurried in that direction. Suddenly, a loud thunderclap pierced the clear sky, and a dark cloud slowly loomed overhead. Mike and his daughter quickened their pace, but raindrops started to fall heavily. The daughter, frightened, leaned against a wall with trembling legs. Fortunately, Mike spotted a hidden opening covered by dry grass, and they narrowly escaped the downpour. After the heavy rain, Mike decided against heading to the shelter. The sudden shower caught everyone off guard, and they likely would not have had time to seek refuge. The mental image of people succumbing to the torrential acid rain was too gruesome to bear. The two walked to the bottom of the mountain and reached an estate, but no one answered despite Mike's knocking. While the daughter mourned her mother's tragic death, she failed to notice Mike's deteriorating condition. It wasn't until he collapsed by the roadside that the daughter fully panicked. When Mike woke up, he found himself saved by the woman in front of him. He was the only one who hadn't fled and had managed to survive until now, relying on the food stored in the basement. Mike gratefully ate cereal and expressed his thanks to the woman, stating that they would leave together in the morning. However, the woman rejected his offer and locked the basement door while they slept. Mike, understanding the harsh realities of human nature in the apocalypse, felt helpless but knew the woman's refusal was reasonable. Using wooden boards, he quickly constructed a small sleeping space for the two of them and then fell into a deep, exhausted sleep. In the middle of the night, the sky once again echoed with thunder, followed by a torrential downpour. Rainwater seeped through cracks in the door, windows, and even corroded the water pipes, leaving the roof in a deteriorating state. Ceiling fragments kept falling, and when Mike was awakened, the room was already a mess. The two desperately pounded on the basement door, hoping the woman and child would come up quickly. However, the mother and child slept soundly, unaware that the basement was flooding. Soon the roof couldn't hold up and collapsed. Seeing the imminent danger, Mike had no choice but to forcefully drag his daughter out and drive the woman's car into the rain. His daughter kept accusing him of not saving the woman and child, but Mike couldn't afford to pay attention. He had to get out of the acid rain zone before the car corroded. However, unfamiliar with the terrain, he soon got stuck in a mud pit and couldn't move. Faced with his daughter's relentless accusations, Mike could no longer hold back. Mike was also heartbroken, but he had no choice. The suppressed emotions finally erupted, and it was the first time in his life that he cried uncontrollably. Suddenly, white smoke rose from under his feet as the rainwater on the ground corroded his shoes. Mike wanted to shout for his daughter to escape, but he found the car empty. His daughter had secretly slipped out when he wasn't paying attention. It was unclear whether she intended to go back and rescue others or was disgusted with her seemingly heartless father. Soon, the girl realized the danger as the acidic water in the grass made it difficult for her to move. Helplessly, she climbed onto a dilapidated crane, but after the corrosive rain, the shaky structure wouldn't hold for long. Mike heard his daughter's cries and rushed over, enduring the excruciating pain in his feet. He reached his daughter's side, carrying her on his back. Every step deepened his feet into the muddy swamp, causing intense pain with each movement. With sheer determination, they finally returned to the car. Mike passed out, and they endured on the car roof until the next day. Mike's legs were severely injured, some parts exposing bone. They were saved when a military rescue vehicle passed by. At the refugee camp, the daughter met a familiar face, the boy who had hidden in the basement. Unfortunately, the boy's mother was not among the survivors. In the end, Mike couldn't save his legs. His daughter, heartbroken, lay on him. Perhaps this ordeal made her understand many things.
Powered by AOVO technology.